Have you ever wondered why your bank account keeps ghosting you? You work, you sweat, you collect those paychecks, but then your wallet still feels very allergic to staying full. And so you blame your boss, you blame the economy, and sometimes you even blame yourself. And you tell yourself that you need to earn more. The truth is, more money won't save you if you have daily habits that have holes big enough to sink your ship. Get this, most people stay broken because they are underpaid, but because they are more loyal to habits that bleed them dry without them even noticing. So listen very well and watch this video to the end, because these 7 habits I'm about to review are the habits that nobody warns you about. If you can spot them, if you can fix them, your money will definitely have somewhere and some breathing space to grow. Firstly, you're loyal to things that don't pay you back. I understand that as humans, we love to talk about loyalty as something that is a virtue. And sometimes it is, but not when it comes to your wallet. You are so loyal to old habits, old payments, old relationships, to the point where you can swear that they are paying you back, but they are not. Just think about it. Let's say you have a gym membership that you've not used since January. You are still paying for 3 streaming services that you barely watch or use, because you tell yourself that you catch up soon on these shows. You're also probably sticking with an insurance plan that's overcharging you because you're too tired to switch. Let me tell you about one of my neighbors. He actually paid for a subscription box, $50 per month for 3 years. I'm talking about boxes of random stuff that he never opened. That's almost $2,000 wasted on loyalty for a company that does not know his name. Rich people audit who and what earns their loyalty, whether it's friends, services, or even jobs. But broke people stay loyal out of habit. When you finally try to cut the dead weight, you often make the next classic mistake, which leads us to the next habit: buying cheap and buying twice. We've all seen it. That discount laptop that freezes after 6 months, the knockoff shoes that look good in the box but die in the rain, and those budget headphones that immediately stop working after the warranty expires. I understand how this looks smart in the moment. It looks like you're saving some sort of cost, but it's a lie. Cheap becomes expensive when it makes you repeat the same purchase more than twice. That cheap deal drains your pocket faster than the expensive ones. So here's the story. When I bought my first winter coat, it felt like I spent so much money. It felt like I spent much more than I budgeted, until I recently thought about it and I realized that it actually lasted more than 5 years. But before that, every other winter coat I had bought before this one that lasted 5 years, I discovered I bought them cheap at a discount, and they actually could not survive a cold snap. So now if you think about it, I actually spent more money trying to get more cheap stuff than getting the one that lasted 5 years, the more original one. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, a billionaire, and of course, one of Forbes' most popular names on the top 10 billionaires list in the world, said, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." This makes a lot of sense, because poor people chase price, they chase the cost, but rich people chase value. But even if you get smarter at what you buy, it won't matter if you treat your savings like some loose change that you find at the end of the month, because you won't. You treat savings like a leftover. So when you get paid, you pay your bills, you buy what you want, and then you leave a little. And after that, you save what's left of everything. Just then, you realize that nothing is left. This goes on for months and months and for years, until you realize you've saved nothing. And this is one change that differentiates the poor or the broke from the rich, because the rich people save first, and they automate this so that they don't spend the money. So somehow they keep an amount of cash from their own impulsive spending. They make life fit into what's left after they pay themselves first. I once read about a janitor. I'm talking about a janitor who died with millions of dollars in investments. Why? Because he treated savings like rent. Non-negotiable, no excuses, no next month. So if you don't want to end up broke, don't save what's left. Save first. Adopt the ways of the rich people. This is what they do first. They save first before any other thing comes in the line. But even if you manage to stash some money away, staying broke will also be guaranteed if you keep your financial life a secret no one's talking about. Number 4, you avoid talking about money. To some people, to some regions, and in some families, talking about money is a taboo. They see it as being rude. They think of it as something that's too personal. And guess what happens? You make the same mistakes in silence. If you don't know what you don't know. I also know about a couple who fought about money for years. In those years, the reason why they fought was money. But for once, they never sat down to compare debts. They both hit their purchases and learn about credit card billings and how to spend their money until the life turned into a mountain that they could no longer bear. But if they had both sat down to talk about money and discuss about their financial issues, they would have gotten out of the debt and resolved their issues completely. And this is true for many couples and many families. If they had just talked about money, they would have caught it sooner. That's the difference, because rich families talk about money when they are eating. At the dining, they talk about money. They ask questions like, what's your budget? What's your rate? How did you afford this? How could you get this? How did you get this car? They share secrets and they stay ahead. This is true because when you open your mouth, you open your options. Ask questions. Let them be awkward. If you don't know something, you don't know it. But all the talk in the world won't matter and won't change anything if you spend your best hours doing what keeps you busy but broke. Number 5, you do the things that are urgent but not important. There's a clear difference between busy and wealthy. You can wake up at 5 a.m., answer every mail, clear notifications, and still stay broke for decades. Urgent work looks shiny, but it makes you the hero for other people's goals, not yours. Important work feels slow at first. It's the side projects you build at night. It's that skill you learn when no one's asking for it yet. It's that risky piece that can change your whole life if you ignore your notifications long enough to finish it. I know people who have worked for 40 years, 40 years, some 50 years, spent their years doing busy things. Right now, they have nothing to show for it. You can't cash in an empty box when you retire. Number 6, you think investing is too risky. If you're like a lot of people, you would think playing it safe is smart. But safe is an illusion when inflation is draining your cash in silence. Of course, leaving money in your savings account could feel secure until you realize that the banks are making use of your money to enrich themselves. Why you get scraps? You're afraid of stocks. You're also afraid of property. You're also afraid of starting that tiny business idea that could make millions. And even more worse is your fear of learning new skills, even if it costs a bit upfront. And so you pack your money and you keep it in a place in your savings account where you think it's safe, but that's exactly where it's dying slowly. Right now, take a look at every big step that you've taken. Relocating, getting a new job, even saying yes to a wild idea. You will notice a trend that taking a risk made you grow. And that same route can be replicated with taking a risk with money. Smart investment isn't gambling. It's learning how to play the game so you don't just survive, you multiply. You probably don't know this, but the biggest risk is standing while the world moves. Number 7, and the last, you keep waiting for more money to change your habits. You probably think discipline is for rich folks, but it's not. You keep saying things like, when I make 6 figures or when I start making much more money, I'll invest, I'll have a budget, and then I'll care. But that's a wrong idea. That's probably the most invalid idea of all, because if you can't manage $500, don't expect to manage $5,000. If you can't manage $500, $5,000 will disappear faster than you think. Think about this carefully. Why do you think the lottery ruins lives? It's because sudden money multiplies bad habits. You probably know about athletes who have gone broke after making millions and millions of dollars. It's not because of anything else. It's because they train their bodies, but they don't train their minds or their money. So the people who stay wealthy train and treat small money like it's big money. They check every dollar. They know how much they spend. They know what leaks and what earns. And so when big money comes, it meets a system. It doesn't meet chaos. There's already a system in place. So start with what you have and where you are right now. It's your habits that will build the wealth. The wealth will never build your habits. So when you have more money, the habits will not change. Your job won't save you. The government won't save you. A raise or an increment in whatever you're doing won't save you if your pocket leaks much more than you earn. So the rescue plan is you. Your next smarter yes, your next big no, and of course your next tiny choice that changes everything. So the ball's in your court right now. Either stay broke by accident or you get wealthy on purpose. If you've watched to this very moment, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in my very next video.